Why don't we as fans come to the terms with that these two teams are the most terrifying teams in all of college football right now, and nobody wants to play them? About 4 to 5 days ago, we made a video talking about two of the scariest teams in college football that nobody wants to play right now. It seemed like you guys liked and enjoyed that video, so I figured, hey, why not? We might as well make a part 2 to it, because in reality, there's more than just two scary and terrifying teams. Before we go any farther, I want y'all to keep this in the back of your mind. I'm not saying these are the best teams. I'm saying these are scary or terrifying teams, as in, nobody wants to play them because if they're on their A game, they're going to be hard to stop. I'll go even farther on that statement. The two teams we're going to talk about in today's video, if they are on their A+ game, I don't know if you can beat them or you can stop them. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is college football. The best team doesn't always win. We're not doing no intro, no none of that. It's simple. If you like the content, consider subscribing. We're on the road at 300K, and although we're probably not going to hit it off of this video, if you do subscribe, we can get slightly closer. You can always unsubscribe later. You're not trapped into some secret contract, but I will say this, whenever we do gain new subscribers, it really helps out the channel, and it lets me know that new people out there, you're enjoying the content. All right, Matt, shut the crap up, blah, 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 blah. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Why'd I say it like that? Let's just say it normal. Let's get into it. All right, that's better. Drum roll, please. Could y'all hear that? Probably not. I don't know. Team number one that nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, wants to play right now is Oklahoma. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on, hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, what am I supposed to be scared of with Oklahoma? They got a new quarterback. They got a new head coach. What's so scary about them? What's so terrifying? I understand 100% where you're coming from in that argument. This is supposed to be a quote-unquote rebuild year for Oklahoma. Remember what happened? Lincoln Riley left him out to dry. However, I hate to inform you, it's not a rebuild year anymore. Hold on. I'll change that statement. They did rebuild, but it only took about 4 or 5 months. They're not rebuilding. I don't want to sound like a broken record player and go on and on and on about how much I love what Brent Venables is doing there. I feel like I've said that too much, and I don't want to bore you guys with that. However, at the same time, I also feel like he's not getting enough credit. I want to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. Brent Venables is Oklahoma. He fits the players. He fits the program. He fits the fan base. Lincoln Riley was awesome. Any Oklahoma fans that tell you he wasn't good or he wasn't a great coach, I just think you're being delusional and you hate the man. Lincoln Riley was a great coach, and he's arguably one of the best offensive masterminds in the entire country, but, and I have a huge but, he didn't feel like Oklahoma. He almost felt like he was there for himself. You never felt like that tight bond with him and the fan base and the players. It almost felt like it was a stepping stone in his career. I think a great example in that, and to put it into an even better perspective, it's kind of like those people, and I know you know somebody like this, they always got to be in a relationship. That's a good way to describe Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma. It didn't feel like it was the right relationship, but he needed to be in one. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, well, how is this Oklahoma so much different and better with Venables than Lincoln Riley? You just said Lincoln Riley's a great coach. Yes, he is a great coach, and I'll stand on that till the day I die, but I'm going to read you off this comment that somebody said. This is coming from Gus Johnson. Oklahoma fans, you may be familiar with him. We've covered Oklahoma football for a lot of years, but I'll tell you what, partner, under Coach Venables, they look different. I'll tell you right now, I couldn't agree any more with that statement. It's 100% true. They do look different, and it has nothing to do with talent. As a matter of fact, you could argue and say that Lincoln Riley's teams prior to this one probably had more talent. When it comes to Oklahoma quarterbacks over the past 5, 6, 7 years, the one they have right now might be the least talented, and that's not disrespect to Dillon Gabriel. That just goes to show you how much talent they have had in the past. The biggest difference, at least to me when I watch Oklahoma now than from the prior years, it looks like this team, they're an actual team and they're playing to win together, whereas in the past 2, 3, or 4 years, it felt like a bunch of talented guys that were out there for themselves. Kind of felt like out there at times a lot of these quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs, they didn't necessarily care if they lost or won. As long as they got their 300 or 400 passing yards and 100 receiving yards and 100 rushing yards, they was all good. Same thing for Lincoln Riley. I'm sure he didn't want to lose games, but it didn't feel like it hurt him. Whereas fast forward in time to 2022, it feels like this is a team where it's one for all for one. Not many people watch this game, but I'm going to bring it up for one reason and one reason only: Kent State and Oklahoma. I'm going to throw it up on the screen right now. You can see it. Oklahoma won this game 33-3. They won by 30 points, and I saw people saying that Oklahoma didn't look that good, and even their fans were saying they wasn't all too impressive. Yeah, they struggled here and there on offense in the first half, but I gotta remind some of y'all, Who cares about one half if you struggled? Last time I checked, football is 4 quarters. I brought this game up to say this. People were saying that Oklahoma didn't look good, and they still won by 30 points. That to me is what is terrifying about this Oklahoma team. If you can play your C+ game or D- game and still win by 30 points, the rest of the country, you better watch out. And I get it. I don't even think they played their B game at Kent State. But once again, winning by 30 points and not playing good, that should tell you how good they are as a team. Fast forward in time to the next week against Oklahoma, I think we all witnessed that beatdown. You see the score right here, 49-14. Nebraska is lucky that Oklahoma took their foot off the gas because they could have easily scored 85 to 90 points if they wanted to. The thing about this Oklahoma team that makes them so good is there isn't that one superstar that everybody's talking about. You just have a bunch of solid football players. You don't have that one quarterback that's taking all the shine. This is one of your Oklahoma teams that's laying under the radar, and that's rare. Because for the past 5 or 6 years, what do we talk about? Oh, who's going to be the next Oklahoma quarterback that's going to win the Heisman Trophy? I'm not saying that Dillon Gabriel can't win the Heisman Trophy, but notice how nobody's really talking about him. From watching his first 3 games, and I understand it's not a great sample size, but I did watch him at UCF, I don't think he's this extremely talented quarterback like a Baker Mayfield, a Jalen Hurts, or a Kyler Murray. But I will tell you this, he has a trait about him that I absolutely love. He plays winning football. He doesn't care about his numbers or stats. He doesn't care if he throws for 300 yards or 30 yards. He wants to win. And as an Oklahoma fan, that's the quarterback I want. Oh, and let me clarify, I'm not an Oklahoma fan. I'm saying if I was an Oklahoma fan. Just got to clarify that. I don't think Gabriel's a top 5 quarterback at this given moment, but I like how he plays the game. There's 2 more players on this team that could give defenses nightmares heading into the future. Eric Gray and Marvin Mims. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like Eric Gray has been playing college football forever. I still remember thinking he was outstanding at Tennessee. I think he's a lethal weapon on the ground, and I am also falling in love with this Marvin Mims kid. He's a junior wide receiver. Lincoln Riley, I felt like he misused him at times, and now they're finally getting him involved with the offense. Already on the season, 14 catches, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and averaging 22 yards per catch. He's on pace to get well over 1,000 yards, and he's going to be a vital point in their offense. Taking a look at Oklahoma's schedule right now, there was one game, and I mean one game that I'm circling, and I think everybody's circling it, against Texas in about 3 weeks. That game right there is going to be the tell-all for not just one team, but both teams. We're going to find out a lot about Texas in that game, and we're also going to find out a lot about Oklahoma in that game. I also pray and I hope that Mr. Quinn Ewers, I think he should, but I hope he plays in that game because it'd just make it 10 times better. You could feel it. You could see it Saturday. Texas is not the same without Ewers at quarterback. I saved the best for last, though. The thing I love, and I mean I absolutely love about this Oklahoma team the most, is that Brent Venables' defense. Urban Meyer even stated this, quote unquote, Brent Venables is chaos. That's a multitude of different looks. Personally, I've tried getting ready for this defense a couple of times. Really difficult chaos defense. I said it when he got hired by Oklahoma. I thought it was one of, if not the greatest hire in the offseason. Why is that? Because in 2022, what does everybody focus on? What is the focal points? Offense. I'm not going to say teams don't care about defense because to a certain extent they do, but I would say 80 to 85% of the attention, it goes to the offensive side of the ball, and it should. In the game of college football right now, you got to score points to win, and that's how it is. With that being said, that's why I like the Venables hire, because you know Oklahoma, they're just an offensive team and culture. They're going to score points. Even with Lincoln Riley leaving and your quarterback leaving, both of them, I knew the offense was going to be fine. They would figure it out somehow, and they have. Oklahoma fans, think about it. Vouch for me in the comment section. What has held y'all back in the past 5, 6, 7 years? What has held y'all back from winning a championship? The defense, it's been awful. The offense has been fine, and that's why I love the Venables hire, because once again, he brings defense. Oklahoma filled the one void, the one aspect of their game that they lacked. Even when Venables was at Clemson, I didn't think he got enough credit, and I get it. Dabo Swinney, he's the head coach, and he's going to get all the glory and shine, and when they lose, everybody's going to criticize him. But that defense under Venables, that's the reason they beat Alabama a couple times. And may I remind you, Venables' defense is the reason that Clemson didn't go 5-7 last year, because that offense was pitiful. What's that old saying that people like to say? Defense travels. Just keep that in the back of your mind. You're now seeing an Oklahoma team that's going to put up points, but now they got a defense. Imagine for a second if Oklahoma had this defense when Kyler Murray was the quarterback, or Baker Mayfield. You seriously could have been talking about one of, if not the greatest college football teams to ever exist. That's why Oklahoma's terrifying. They now have a defense. Moving along to our second team, ironically enough, they're sitting right behind Oklahoma in the AP poll. And I think this video kind of conflicts itself, we got USC. Oh man, this is going to be a bittersweet video for my Oklahoma fans. I wish I could say I'm sorry, but I'm not. USC is a terrifying team right now. You want to know why USC is a team you don't want to play right now? Because they're going to put up 50 points minimum every single game. And I know somebody's running to the comments right now. I can smell you, you idiot. Somebody saying, well, Matt, against Stanford, they only scored 41, and Fresno State, they only scored 45. That don't make sense. Well, listen here, you bozo. They took their foot off the pedal in both of those games. If they wanted to, they could have hung up 66 just like they did against Rice. Anyways, getting back on topic, USC is terrifying for much different reasons. And honestly, I only think they're terrifying for one reason and one player only, and he goes by the name of Caleb Williams. Whoa. I know what you're sitting there saying, yo, Matt, how can one team be so scary just by one player? Well, my friend, I'm glad you asked that question. That's a fair point. I have a great answer and a great example. It's the same thing with Texas. I want you to answer this question in your head, or you can type it in the comments. Do whatever you want. If Quinn Ewers is playing for Texas, you right now, do you think they have a shot against Oklahoma? Do you think they have a shot against Alabama, Ohio State, any team in the country? I would assume 99% of you said, yeah, Texas is going to have a shot if Quinn Ewers is playing quarterback. Okay, on the flip side, if Quinn Ewers is not playing quarterback, would you say Texas has a shot against all these top 5 or top 10 teams? Probably not. That's my point right there. In college football and the NFL, you can only go as far as your quarterback can take you. You can have talent, you can have all the pieces, but you gotta have the one guy at quarterback. And if you don't believe me, just look at Texas with Ewers and without him. It's a team thing. It builds the morale. The quarterback just doesn't affect the offense. He affects every part of the team. He's the leader, and if the defense knows they have a good leader and a good quarterback, they're gonna play better. It's just how it is. We all know who Mr. Williams is. I'm not giving him no introduction, and he was awesome last year. People were trying to say that he was going to contend for the Heisman Trophy after only playing 2 or 3 games. And as good as he was last year, one of the most sought after NIL recruits and transfer recruits, he's already better this year. It's only been 3 games, but I want you to look at this stat line that is just astronomical. He is completing 74.4% of his passes. Completing nearly 75% of your passes? I say that's pretty good. Oh yeah, and can't forget to mention and throw this in there, he has 8 touchdowns to 0. Let me repeat that, 0 INTs. He currently has a QBR on a scale of 1 to 100 of 93.1, sitting 4th in the country. I'm going to remind you, he didn't even start last year, and this is his first official year starting for a college football team. I'd say that's pretty good. To go along with that, we all know the new transfer wide receiver they got. He costs like $5 million. Jordan Addison already got nearly 300 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. USC also has a transfer running back that goes by the name of Travis Dye from Oregon, and he's good as well. I'm not going to sit up here and go over all these pieces around Williams. They're all talented. The thing that has held USC back for the past 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever years you want to call it, is a good head coach and a good quarterback. They've always had talent. They're in California. They can get a 5-star recruit in their backyard. Y'all know this. Well, now here's why they're terrifying and why they're already succeeding the way they are. They've had the talent for years on that team. They just didn't have a great quarterback and great head coach. Now they do. And here's the biggest misconception with Lincoln Riley that drives me crazy. Everybody thinks he's this air raid offense where he wants to throw the ball 75 times a game and have his quarterback throw for 500 yards and rush for 50. That is the biggest misconception and the biggest myth about Lincoln Riley there is. He actually wants to establish the run. Nobody talks about that. Don't believe me? Well, how about this? Here's a good example. In the last game, both of the running backs for USC had over 100 yards. Oh, right, but Lincoln Riley, he just wants to pass the ball. Come on, man. It's the running game he wants to establish to open up the passing lanes. I don't think USC has outstanding running backs, but they have really good ones and great some days. Let me put it this way. It doesn't matter how you want it, USC can give it to you. You want them to run the ball? Okay, they'll do that. You want them to pass? Caleb Williams, we know he can do that. Whatever part of their game you're going to try to take away, they're going to counter it somehow, some way. Can't forget to throw in there, got to give credit where it's due, Lincoln Riley is a mastermind. The only concern about this team, and I know what a lot of you saying, well, Matt, their defense isn't that good, and I agree 100%. It is shaky. The defense ain't that good. Take a look right here, giving up 14 to Rice, 28 to Stanford, and 17 to Fresno State. A lot of people would get concerned with that. I'm not, and I don't think Lincoln Riley is, because he knows, hey, that's fine. If we give up 28 points, we expect to win 99 out of 100 games. Y'all don't understand. Lincoln Riley with his defense is like, hey, just hold them under 40 points, get us a turnover here and there, and don't worry about the offense. We're going to score 50. That, to me, is why USC and Caleb Williams is terrifying. And I'm also going to ask you this question. If I told you right now, whatever team you go for, let's just say you go for Ohio State or Kentucky. If I told you tomorrow you got to play USC and Caleb Williams on a neutral field, would you feel confident about that? I'm an Alabama fan, and I'm telling you right now, the one quarterback I don't want to play, it's not CJ Stroud. Will Levis, or anybody like that, is Caleb Williams. This kid, at times, if he's on his A game, he's unstoppable. I don't think anybody wants to see this team right now just because of how talented and special they are on offense. The reason I like putting these two teams in this one video, USC and Oklahoma, is because it's two teams that nobody's going to give enough credit to. Everybody's going to say, well, oh, USC and Oklahoma, who have they played? Yeah, they're 3-0, but they ain't played nobody. Oh, USC and Oklahoma, they just got that new first-year head coach. They're not going to contend for the playoff or anything like that. All I see everywhere right now is people trying to find excuses as to why these teams aren't going to contend for a playoff. That's all I see, when in reality, why don't we just pay attention to what we're actually seeing? Why don't we, as fans, come to the terms with that these two teams are the most terrifying teams in all of college football right now, and nobody wants to play them? I don't get it. Maybe y'all do. Let me know your thoughts down below. But right away, Millie!